This presentation is part of a series of videos on supported decision-making made possible by a partnership between Southwest Institute for Families and Children, the ARC of Arizona, and the Arizona Center for Disability Law. The topic of this video is supported decision-making agreements. This project is made possible through the support and funding of the Arizona Developmental Disabilities Planning Council in cooperation with the partnering organizations. Once a person with a disability is ready to choose a supporter, they should sign a supported decision-making agreement. A supported decision-making agreement is a formal arrangement between the supporter and the person with a disability. Supported decision-making agreements turn informal supports into formal supports by describing the responsibilities of the supporter and the expectations of the person with a disability. By signing the agreement, supporters agree to take on the responsibility of helping the person with a disability in the areas written in the agreement. These agreements help define the role of the supporter and the person with the disability. They also explain what the supporter has the right to see or do within the agreement, such as the right to view certain documents or the right to provide advice on financial matters. A signed agreement also demonstrates to other people who are important in the life of a person with a disability, for example, doctors, lawyers, and teachers, that a supporter has the approval of the person to assist with important decision-making. Now, to be clear, these agreements are not legally binding. Supporters and people with disabilities who sign these agreements are not legally required to follow them. Furthermore, both the supporter and the person with the disability have the right to end the agreement at any time. But even though supported decision-making agreements have no legal enforcement, people should still take the time to create them. Supported decision-making agreements put into writing the expectations individuals with disabilities and their supporters have for each other, protect the privacy of the person with a disability because they specify how much personal information a supporter has access to, and can be provided to medical and social service providers to notify them of the role of the supporter. Some medical and social service providers may not feel comfortable providing services to a person with a disability if they believe that person is not able to understand the services they're receiving. With a supporter assisting the person with a disability, service providers may feel more comfortable working with that person who has a disability. Now, while a supported decision-making agreement creates a formal relationship between a supporter and a person with a disability, the agreement does not give the person the right to view or receive personal records. Supporters will not have access to financial records, medical records, or educational records. If the person with the disability would like their supporter to have access to personal records, they must provide the necessary paperwork, known as a release of information document, to permit that kind of access. Let's take a look at a sample supported decision-making agreement. In this example, the agreement has 4 sections: the appointment of a supporter, the effective date, the consent of the supporter, and signatures and notarization. We'll explain a little more about each of these sections and show you what they look like. And not every supported decision-making agreement looks the same, but this example includes the basic information you'll find in almost every version. It contains a large number of blank lines for information the person with the disability and the supporter to fill in important information. It also includes several areas in which the person with a disability needs to indicate what types of assistance a supporter is asked to provide and how much personal information a supporter is allowed to see. The first section of the agreement deals with the appointment or selection of a supporter. The person with a disability starts by placing his or her name in the space to verify that this agreement is being made voluntarily. In this area, the person with a disability also lists the name, address, and other contact information for an individual supporter. This is also the place where the person with the disability indicates what types of assistance he or she is asking the supporter to provide. Now, an important part of the agreement is a statement that says a supporter does not make decisions for the person with the disability, but provides help in making decisions. This section then goes on to explain how a supporter assists in the decision-making process and what actions they take to provide guidance and to help the person with the disability. Finally, in this section, the person with a disability indicates whether or not this particular supporter is allowed to have access to legally protected personal health information and legally protected educational records. In the next section, the person with the disability states how long the agreement with this particular supporter will last. You can choose any period of time, for example, a year or 2 years, or you can allow the agreement to last indefinitely, that is, until any point in time when you choose to end it. The third section of the agreement requires the supporter to certify that he or she is agreeing to be a supporter according to the requirements of the agreement. The supporter must sign and date this section. And in the fourth and final section of the agreement, the person with a disability and 2 witnesses must sign the document in the presence of a notary public. A notary public is a person with a special license that allows them to certify signed documents. Once the agreement is signed by the person with a disability and the witnesses, the notary will sign it, add the date, and stamp it with a special stamp. And that's it. The agreement is official. Although this might seem like a lot of work just to get someone to help you, supported decision-making agreements really are very important. For one thing, they let everyone involved know what is expected. They also provide protections for the person with the disability and the people who serve as supporters. They're very helpful in letting healthcare providers and other professionals know that people stand beside you to help you make challenging decisions. And you aren't stuck in an agreement that doesn't work out. You can change or end an agreement at any time. So it is in everyone's best interest to make sure a good supported decision-making agreement is in place. For more information on supported decision-making, visit the Southwest Institute for Families and Children website and look under the Supported Decision-Making Pilot Project tab. You can also find more information on Facebook at Arizona SDM. Thank you for being part of this presentation. If you'd like more information on supported decision-making, please feel free to contact any of the partner organizations using the information shown on this slide.